course, you may have a home away from home, but that home away from home is unlike home. The ANC is our home. The ANC belongs not to us, but to all of us. And for all of us gathered here today, this home, this place of rest, is the only legitimate home of our revolution. That is the African National Congress. Today is about the ANC again, reaffirming to the religious sector as a whole that it is the home of all of the progressive forces, a place for activists to find rest because its values and ethos resonate with their own conscience. Compatriots, it is a matter of public record that last year our movement in KwaZulu-Natal suffered a huge setback at the polls. It is also a fact that we lost our absolute majority in the provincial government, and we had to relinquish the stewardship of the Executive Council as part of a coalition government agreement that we had to enter into. Today, we converge as the ANC that acknowledges that setback, but the one that is also on the firm path of rebuilding and building back better. And we can only build back better because we are able to reach every sector of society. And the religious sector as a sector is such a pivotal sector of society. And as the ANC, we would like to work with you. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, under this provincial interim leadership, we are a 66-member ANC provincial task team that was appointed by the national leadership of the ANC to rebuild the ANC and the Congress movement in this province. Of course, we are led by Comrade Jeff Hatebe Eupungane. And in our midst, we have one of the most important and experienced veterans, the former chairperson of the ANC, the former ambassador, the former premier, Comrade Usbusiso Joel Ndebele, sitting in front here. It is important that we must say, as the ANC, we acknowledge all our leaders. And most so, at this time, we would like to ensure that all our leaders are united in working together to rebuild, to reunite, and to renew the movement. And the ANC, I must say, and say this with conviction, that it is united in its conviction to come back from this setback, and we can only do so because all of us are seized with one common purpose, the purpose of serving our people. And we can only serve our people if we work with all of you. And hence this breakfast is about all of us beginning to see how we can work together. Now, it is important for us as compatriots and fellow activists that in chapter 2, verse 47 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches about the importance of selfless action. He says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, nor be attached to inaction, close quotation. These teachings resonate with the values of the ANC, and yet while guaranteeing freedom of religion, South Africa is a secular state. And South Africa identifies as a secular state with its constitution firmly dedicated to the principle of separating religion from government. And this ensures that all citizens enjoy the freedom to practice the country's complex history, especially during apartheid, a time where religion often mixed with politics and was misused to support racial segregation. With the new constitution adopted after apartheid, South Africa aimed to build a society that is not only more inclusive and democratic, but also safeguards the rights of individuals to celebrate their faith while remaining neutral in religious affairs. We share this context because we seek to underscore 3 points. The first is that all religions are equal and have a right to exist. The second is that the various religions help nature and protect the moral fiber of our country and her people. The last is that there is a historical record of the role played by religious formations and activists in fighting for freedom and providing a moral compass for all of us as we build a society of our dreams. Therefore, the religious sector is quite important for the sustenance of the democratic project and the construction of a new, equal, just, prosperous, and united society out of the debris of our past. It is not stretching the truth, therefore, to suggest that the religious sector is a key determinant of the success of our future and of our revolution. We, therefore, come to you as the ANC to say we would like to work with you. And wanting to work with you, we will not only involve you because we would request you to come to bless our meetings through interfaith prayers, but we will also want to work with you in rebuilding this society, in repositioning society, but in also dealing with issues that are very important in society. So, compatriots, building a united society is proving to be a key challenge. And over the past couple of years, the regressive forces have upped the ante and unashamedly are advancing a divisive ideology. This is counterproductive. We need the religious leaders to speak truth to power, who take a stand against racism, take a stand against tribalism, and any other form of discrimination which undermines the democratic project. The ANC is deeply concerned by the rise of violent crime. We are worried, especially about women and children, who bear the brunt of heinous incidents of crime. We believe that together with the religious sector and all other facets of society, we can take the lead in the campaign for the restoration of the moral fiber in our communities. In particular, we know the role of the religious sector in the restoration of the moral fiber. So, compatriots, the socio-economic transformation project is currently experiencing all sorts of kind of challenges, but we hope that this morning will be the beginning of us forging a meaningful social compact to work with the ANC and for the ANC to support you in all of your endeavors wherever you are. Bantwana benkosi, isisho sesintu sithi liqhoshwa libhekile. No revolution is a straight line. Nathi njengoba sihamba lendlela yokukhulula abantu bakithi emakatangweni encindezelo, bekungeke kwenzeke sikwenze konke kuphumelele ngalendlela esifisa ngayo. Kodwa empilweni kwesinye isikhathi uyashelela. Siyabona ke futhi ukuthi uma sesishelele kumele ukuba sivuke sisithathe. Yingakho ke simema abakwethu ukuba bame nathi uma silungisa. Mhlangano wethu ke wanamhla ekseni nazo zonke izinhlaka zezenkolo. Yingoba sizothi bakwethu njengombutho wesizwe sivula izandla. Njengombutho wesizwe sifisa ukuba sibambane. Njengombutho wesizwe sifisa ukuba sibuyelele lapha khona abaqalisa lo mbutho ngo1912. bakwazi ukuhlangana besekelwa izona zonke izinsika nezinhlaka zomphakathi. Sizothi ke la kinina siza njengobuholi obubumbene bakwaZulu Natal obusebenza ngokubambisana, kodwa obuzofisa ukuthi ekwenzeni nasekugxileni kulungiseni izinto eziphethe kabi abantu bakithi sisebenzisane, sisebenze ndawonye. Sithi ke kini awukho omunye umbutho ongenza lokhu ungenziwa umbutho wesizwe. Uma sibe namabatha yobe impilo leyo, kodwa okubaleke kakhulu ukuba manje sibambane sonke masiphuma la emabandleni ethu, simkhuleko ngabonwayo, kodwa futhi sazi ukuthi umbutho wesizwe iyona hawu lethu leli, uwona mkhonto lona owalekelela ukuba abantu bakithi bavikeleke, izwe lakithi libe kwesinye isigaba elikulona. Ngakho ke sifuna ukusho ukuthi kuningi sikuzuze ngenkululeko. Uloko sikuzuze ngenkululeko, sicela ukuba singakufeli amathe ngoba sibe nezingxaki. Kule minyaka ke sesikuyona ngama-31 sinentando yeningi, siyawucela ukuba sonke sibonisane, sibambisane. Sengiphetha ke izwe lakithi lineyingxaki ezintsha esezivela ngemuva kweminyaka ngama-30. Kulezi ingxaki ezintsha sifisa wonke umuntu asukume abe neqhaza azolibamba, ikakhulukazi thina njengemahlelo ahlukahlukene ezenkolo. Sibe neqhaza sizolibamba eqinisekiseni ukuthi eyinkingeni izwe libhekene nazo sisebenza kanjani. Asingakushiyeli kwabanye lokhu, ngoba akekho oyoza nalomuzwa okuyiwona wona wangempela oyofuna ukuba izwe lakithi lakheke ngendlela. Ngakho ke sineyinkinga ezibhekene nokuthi abantu bakithi badinga amathuba emisebenzi nokuthuthukiswa komnotho. Siya engxoxweni kazwelonke ebizwa nge-National Dialogue. Kule ngxoxo sicela ukuthi abantu abazohamba phambili ukwakha amasu nokubeka okuzofanele kuxoxele phezu kwawo akube yithina sonke siholwa umbutho wesizwe, i-ANC. Sixoxele ekuthenini udaba lomhlaba sizolibuyisa kanjani, silusebenze kanjani ukuze sibuyise umhlaba. Sixoxele ekuthenini ububha nokweswela okungaka ngemuva kwaleminyaka ngama-30 sizosuka kanjani la sithole ikhasi elisha. Siyazazi inkinga zabantu. Sesifisa manje ukuba sisebenzisane ekutholeni izixazululo. Wonke umuntu lengxoxo yanamhla isinhloso ngqa enkulu ukuthi wonke umuntu akabe neqhaza. Compatriots, what I'm saying is that the ANC appreciates where we are after 31 years of democracy. Appreciating where we are, we also understand that we are now faced with new challenges. In these new challenges that are facing us, we think it is important to invite all components of society to take part in having a national dialogue. And what must inform that national dialogue should not be the views of other people who will want to undermine the democratic project, but it should be that we want to deal with issues of unemployment, issues of growing the economy, creating jobs, issues of land reform, issues of dealing with the issues of crime and gender-based violence and how we can all eliminate the scourge. We know the national issues. What we are asking for is a partnership and a social compact in providing solutions to the national issues and the issues of national significance. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, we want to take this opportunity, therefore, as the ANC, to say the ANC is a home for all of the progressive forces. The ANC is the only political formation with a long-term vision of our country. And the ANC is the only one with a history of government where the lives of our people change, and they change for the better. The mandate we carry is bigger than any individual's preference. With today's meeting, we are unequivocally declaring that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. May we live to this declaration. We are a non-racial organization. We believe in non-racialism. And we know that this country is where it is because all of us, irrespective of our race, irrespective of our gender, irrespective of our social orientation, we all came together to deliver freedom and democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Comrade Ndiema. We have done a great job, and thank you for the claps, and I'm sure it was adequate. And the versatility that comes from Ndiema is amazing. Very rare that someone is going to quote Quran on the same bread as well. You find a holy book in the same under the same presentation, and we have scholars in our midst, the theologians, who were just checking using hermeneutics interpretation. Is he still on track? I'm sure Prof. Namapena read in Yapala Bapati Lap. No Chubasa I hope you'll hear the feedback, DM. Thank you so much for that presentation. And I'm sure we are all clinical of the way forward with your humility as well, how you work with almost all the stakeholders. And Ndiema, as was citing, Masalankosi has been almost in different departments. They've done that great job, and the ANC still feels that they must play and shape the outlook of the province of KwaZulu-Natal. I like the author who was saying that if we want to be great with humility. So the type of leadership we have and we produce. I'm then just going to introduce the last speaker who's going to come. After then, I'm just going to give the court director to take over. Comrade Jeff is the son of Kwamashu, the son of the soil in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. He grew up in this area because of the apartheid and the brutality regime. He had to go and be trained as a guerrilla of Umkhonto weSizwe. He spent some time in Robben Island. As from then, 94, the new dispensation called for his role. He has been playing different roles as well in the state. Some of the major projects that you see today, as a result of Sanral, he played that pivotal role. As you were speaking, Ndiema ngibonile uShenge engene obaba uNcamu, so siyafisa ukuba welcome ukuthi siqalile ke I-process. So kunama PWC members as well who just join us, Comrade Ravi Pillay, Comrade Nhlakanipho Ntombela. They are also part and parcel of the working committee. And again, njengoba dekhuluma ngendaba chaplains, chaplain ba-acknowledge ubaba uLuvune, baba AV. I'm just going to give uComrade Tupungane a space. He's going to give us the address from the ANC. Makhulukhulu, the platform is yours. We can give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you very much, Comrade Duma. Firstly, I would like to join my comrades and colleagues in welcoming as the religious leaders to this very important engagement with the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. I also want to humble myself before you that as the ANC, we really want to work with all religious leaders because insuka yethu iphuma enkolweni. As the ANC, we have always been closely associated with religion of all types. Without a religion, the ANC will not be what it is today. So as we move forward, we as the provincial task team, which I have the privilege to lead, we really want to work with you we have acknowledged the mistakes that we have made so that we together, we can build a better future, not only for ourselves, but for our children. In religious terms, I want to say the ANC wants to atone. I want to give you a very brief history of why I'm saying that our origins is in religion. Several religious leaders, both women and men, have played a very pivotal role in the formation and the development of the African National Congress during the 19th and early 20th century. Their contributions were very instrumental in intertwining faith with the political aspirations of the people of this land. Let me use a few examples to highlight this point. There was a man of God by the name of Saul Msane, who was a very prominent member of the Wesleyan Methodist Church. He also was a newspaper editor. He was among those founding members of the ANC and served as the Secretary General of the ANC from 1917 until his death in 1919. We had Zacharias Richard Mahabane, who was also ordained as a Methodist minister in 1914. He also became very deeply involved as a political activist. He served 2 terms as the president of this great organization, the ANC, from 1924 to 1927, and again from 1937 to 1940. His strong leadership was marked by efforts to unify Africans, Coloureds, Indian communities against common grievances. We had this great woman, Charlotte Maxeke, a trailblazing woman who was deeply involved in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, where she preached as well as advocated for education. She even created and established the Wilberforce Institute. Many people are not aware, actually, that Charlotte Maxeke was at the founding conference of the ANC in Mangaung in 1912. But regrettable, because of patriarchy, we don't even see her picture, even in the new membership card of the ANC, as one of the founding members of this great organization. She is the reason we have the ANC Women's League. He founded the Bantu Women's League, which has become the ANC Youth League, and was deeply involved in anti-pass campaigns and other women's rights issues. Tio Soga, a first black South African to be ordained as a church minister. He was a journalist. He was a translator. He was a composer of many hymns. He is the first African to translate the Bible into Xhosa, as well as one of that famous book of John Bunyan's, The Pilgrim's Progress into Xhosa. Many people aren't aware that actually C.O. Doka was the first black lawyer in the history of South Africa. These individuals, they exemplified significant intersection between religious leadership and political activism in South Africa, highlighting this profound influence of faith-based leaders in our nation's struggle for liberation for justice and for equality. Ngimweseli mina lapha eG2 kwaMashu. Umama uMachonco beyigosa eG2. At the first founding conference of the ANC in Mangaung in 1912, the man I just spoke about, Siyotoka, composed this hymn, Lizalisa idinga lakho Thixo wenyaniso, fulfill thy promise, O God of truth. That was the first hymn that was sang at that founding conference. How can I forget about John Langalebalele Dube, the first president of the African National Congress? He also was a church minister, not far from here, Ohlang. But what I want to emphasize is that the ANC, even from its very foundation, believed in non-racialism. It started not far from here, in Nanda. John Dube, the priest, who worked very closely with one great son of India and the world, Mahatma Gandhi, in the Phoenix settlement. They worked together with one of the great leaders of our time, Ushembe. So I'm mentioning this that you can see the source of the non-racial character of the organization. But more specifically in the 40s, that's where we found a close association of Africans, of Indians and Coloureds in a common struggle against the system of oppression and exploitation. Remember the Kuma Datu Naika Pact of the 1940s, that together, Africans and Indians, they fought together. The Natal Indian Congress here in KwaZulu-Natal under Dr. Naika, and the Transvaal Indian Congress under Dr. Dadu, and the president of the ANC, Dr. Kuma, to forge a common program. It didn't end there. In the roaring 50s, even though some of us were not there, but we know from history that that clarion call that was made by Professor Z.K. Matthews for the convening of the Congress of the People that converged in Kliptown in 1955 to adopt the Freedom Charter. That was the real time that formally, as a movement as a whole, non-racialism became a cornerstone of this organization. That Freedom Charter has become a blueprint for the South Africa that we have today. The Constitution that was adopted by all of us in 1996, you can see it is littered with the DNA of the Freedom Charter. And for that, this obnoxious system of apartheid arrested our president, Chief Albert Luthuli, a man of God himself, with 155 other leaders of all races and creed, regardless of religion and beliefs. That did not stop our people from yearning for the freedoms that we enjoy today. So that treason trial based on the Freedom Charter, which at the end of almost 5 years, all those accused were acquitted. I'm just highlighting the point that the ANC is a non-racial organization. The ANC believes that all people, regardless of their religion, we are part of this humanity. As a result, we find within the ANC Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Jewish, traditional, and everybody is accepted within the organization. I also want to highlight as well that even in modern times, in the 60s and 70s, religion has always played a very pivotal role in mobilizing the people of this country against the system of apartheid. Remember the days, the decade, where black theology was at the center, where we had prominent leaders of faith, like the great Reverend B.K. Dludla, whom we lost recently, Bishop Manas Teles, Bishop Tutu, Bishop alias Zulu, and many, many others who were at the forefront of the struggle that we become free. So I'm mentioning all these things to highlight one simple point, that intsuka yethu ukhongolose isenkolweni. We can never be separated from religion. So that's why at this hour of 2025, when we as the ANC are at the bottom, we want to work with you together so that you can rebuild this organization, renew it to remember our roots. All these things that I'm saying is that we want to humble ourselves before you. There is still time to recover. We can turn this thing around. With those few words, I would like to say, let's hold hands and work to build the ANC of our future and the future of our children. I thank you.
Thank you very much to both the convener and the coordinator. We're now going to go to the second session of this engagement. This is our first meeting as the interim leadership with you, the religious sector. The convener and our coordinator have emphasized that we are here to start the program of renewal and rebuilding with you. Isaiah 64 verse 4 says, however ruined and devastated things may appear to be, God can rebuild, restore, and renew. That goes for churches, individuals, and communities. Let us work together to restore the integrity and rebuild the trust that the people had in our movement. We will now give an opportunity to the reps from the religious sector to talk to us. We'll start with Bishop Mambo Mkhize. Thank you very much. From the Christian sector. Was it change? He's here. He's usefikile.
Greetings to our conveners, the program director, to all pastors that are here. On behalf of the Christian, I think it's normal in our community. It's normal to find that the relationship has gone wrong somewhere, somehow, and we need to sit down and revisit what has happened in the past. Therefore, on behalf of the Christian, we extend our warm welcoming of what the address has been expressed, more especially in the context of confessing, more especially in the context of the confessing that we have gone wrong. Those who confess their sins, they are forgiven. they are forgiven. So as we are here, we are very firm, united, and we wish to express that we are behind this train. We are going to work with the ANC. We are going to work with the ANC as a Christian. And also, I remembered the story of Israel when Israel was delivered from Canaan to the Promised Land. They found the obstacle of the Red Sea on the way. Some of the people, they thought it was better to go back to Egypt. That is what they thought. But the leaders, they came in forefront. God spoke to them. He said, the journey must continue. It was in the moment of crisis. In other words, there is no organization that will never face the crisis. It's normal. But during the crisis, you need to stand firm as a leader and say, Aluti continue. ANC, this is normal. Remember, it has happened in God himself in the heavenly realm. When the devil said to God, now I have an audience here in your audience. And that audience was the angels. And God said, even if you want to take another side, but Aluti continue. Bahamba babuyela emumva kodwa uNkulunkulu waqhubeka. Therefore, this is normal. You are welcome by us as a Christian. We are joining this collaboration. Thank you very much.
Amen. Siyabonga Anc Kzn. Now we will invite from the Muslim community, Sheikh Walid Sadi.
I've been warned. No fighting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon all of us. Program Director, and let me acknowledge the leadership of the ANC, the leaders of our Home of Peace, religious leaders, brothers and sisters, all protocols observed. Let me start thanking the Almighty who bless us and give us the opportunity this morning to be together. Different race, different faith, but we are all one. The creation of the Almighty God, the children of Adam and Eve. It is need a brave man and woman to stand and say, we went somewhere wrong, and we need you as religious leaders to come back and guide us. We all know that the ANC started in the church. And I want to remind my comrade and my brother, Spundi Bele, that the first council of Interfaith started in the office of the Premier was Dr. Anc Kzn, myself, and this brother of mine, Bishop Dube, was there, and we started this move. And in KwaZulu-Natal, the ANC recognized that they can't move without the religious leaders. I'm not going to talk about mistake and wrong was there, because this is gone and washed. The hand you have brought forward this morning, it is accepted by all of us. I'm talking about Muslim community, Muslim religious leaders here. Look at them. Normally to bring them here, it is impossible. They left all their responsibility to be here. To be here. We always supported the ANC from day one, and we will remain, because the only organization that will keep our freedom in this country is the ANC. I don't want to give names. For those who, when they took over some of the cities, they stopped all our plans to build mosques or churches, which is not in their way. I'm not going to mention those names. But yes, the ANC is home for everyone. We're looking for this relationship and partnership, because I'm talking on behalf of the Muslim organizations, who in their organization there is different departments. And when you talk about women and child abuse, we have those departments, but we need that strong partnership with the ANC for us to solve these problems. Crime, I think our leader is going to talk about the crime, kidnapping, all these things. We're going to talk about it, but we need to work together. Religious leaders are the one who represent the nation. Government is the policies, and together we can do it. On behalf of our Muslims and on behalf of our oppressed people all over the world, we thank the ANC for standing for any oppression nation, especially the stand of Palestine. What the ANC stands to support the people of Palestine, I don't believe that there is Arab or Muslim country took that stand. And this is why we thank you. We thank you. Not only Muslims, actually, Muslims, Christians, and Jews who live in Palestine, they thank you also. I must thank my brother Abdul Valodia and our MP Imran Sobrati for working so hard from our meeting last week to bring this wonderful leadership here to give the support for our organization, the ANC. And thank you. Wassalamu alaikum. I hope I did well.
Thank you, Sheikh Walid. Today we are together, we are one. We'll now invite Rabbi Gilad Friedman from the Jewish faith.
Thank you, Program Director. I don't want to cause trouble, but for protocol, I will first acknowledge my religious brothers and sisters, if I may, before I acknowledge our leadership at the table. And I hope that those are protocols that are observed, at least in this setting. In Parliament, we can do it the other way around. It's so important to see political parties coming together for engagement with the religious sector. And prayer and the Almighty, certainly, I think we can all agree, is above politics. These engagements are critical. Representation is critical. And I'm so delighted to hear of what has taken place in terms of the planning to reactivate engagement with the religious sector. The religious sector is not a GNU. We don't have to come together and discuss and plan and maybe this and maybe that. It's natural for us. It's always been there. And I can proudly say that in KwaZulu-Natal, we have the most interreligious engagements out of any of the provinces in South Africa. Despite our differences, despite our politics, religious leadership has open and direct communication. It's unusual, by the way. It's unusual. And here's my bishop. When I walked in this morning, I immediately knew my leaders and my friends from other faith groups. This shouldn't be taken for granted. We have more in common than anything that ever may come to divide us as religious leaders. And as a religious leader today, I'm going to make an appeal to our leadership table, because this is what leaders do. The bishop said to me, we said, don't preach, keep it short. And if you don't preach, then it's a short talk. So I won't preach, but I'll make an appeal. If we can have in South Africa every citizen and also every politician, because of course they're also citizens, attending their house of worship on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis. I saw in our census maybe 3 times a year, on a weekly basis, every member of parliament should go to their house of worship and pray. Can you imagine how we could increase the goodness in South Africa? The great potential that we have, the wonderful, beautiful country that we have. Prayer is critical. Community is critical. And to hear the words already said by leadership today, recognizing this, brings me great comfort and brings me great joy, especially that you have tasked us already with to tackle the challenges of South Africa. I'll tell you that we are delighted to hear this call, but we've been doing it all this time since God created the world, praying for all the citizens of the world and praying for all the citizens of our country. Each week in our shuls throughout the country, we pray for our governments, for the success of our country, and we let you know this as well. I was going to bring the prayer as well, but then I thought the other religious leaders didn't. They just came and they gave a little short message. So I know that a good sermon is a short sermon. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rabbi. At least we all do go to church every week. Thank you very much. We'll now invite from the Hindu community, Professor Prue Mohan.
Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Sawubona. Comrade Spoo and Rebella will tell you that the Namaste, which he hears in India for so many years when he was ambassador, means I greet the divine in you. I have a prepared speech and I'll refer to it. It's short, but those of us who get paid to talk can go long, and I'm not sure whether I'll get an extended time. I'm joking. South Africa, we know, has many problems. But one problem we don't have is religious conflict. We have 4 or 5 different faiths in this room, including the traditional African religion as well. And people in other parts of the world are asking questions. How come you guys are not fighting? And especially in this province and in our city. It's a multicultural, multi-religious, and multiracial city. And it's significantly due to the political leadership and the struggle against apartheid that we have this form of harmony and social cohesion. Now, religions are generally associated with the ideals of peace, tolerance, non-violence, equality, and justice. In 1993, the Assembly of Parliament of the World's Religion, recognizing that every human being must be treated humanely, committed itself to a culture of non-violence and respect for life, solidarity, and a just economic order, equal rights and partnership among men and women, tolerance and a life of truthfulness. You will find that these principles are embodied in the constitution of our country. The post-pandemic world has been characterized by social, economic, and political instability, and you know what is happening since the government changed in a very important northern country. Poverty and inequality are increasing globally. While the South African experience is no difference, this has been aggravated by corruption, crime, violence, xenophobia, which threatens to envelop our nation. Now, none of my preceding religious leaders referred to corruption. I call it the big C in our country. And we know that corruption is most prominent in those sectors of government, whether it's local, municipal, provincial, or national. And with corruption, it means there's less for the poor. And all our faiths, we profess that we're going to work for the poor. That's what we say on Sunday. We're talking about our Friday or whichever day that you pray. There is a close association between religion, ethics, and morality. In fact, we in the faith sector are the custodians of ethics, morality, and integrity. We should be policing that. Have we been doing that? Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. O Lord, lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light. That is a quote from the Upanishads, one of the holy books of the Hindus. This encompasses the essence of the Hindu view towards corruption. Hindu scriptures explicitly condemn corruption and promote truthfulness. Satyama Vijayata, truth alone triumphs. Comrade Spoo, you'll remember in the early 90s when you and I worked at UDW, that was the motto of the old UDW. The philanthropic outreach of all the organizations' room is extraordinary. For example, in the Hindu sector, during the floods and COVID period, this is a rough guess, and I'm underestimating it. The Hindu sector distributed about 300 tons of groceries and personal toiletries, etc., to all communities, regardless of race, religion, or ethnic origins. Now, the faith sector is not perfect and has not been impervious to the stench of corruption. We have a fair number of charlatans among us, especially those who are self-appointed, unaccountable, promote interfaith conflict, fool the poor with ridiculous sleight of hand tricks, and primarily focus on the weekly takings. However, the faith sector enjoys unequivocal support from society. It's the most trusted sector in our country. That means we have a far greater responsibility. As much as we rightly criticize government, the leadership of the faith sector must engage in some critical introspection about the extent to which we have failed to reduce crime and corruption in our country, and implicitly, we are implicated in that, or complicit. Did we trust politicians too much? Were we afraid of them? Or did we benefit from the largest? By promising the poor a better life in the afterlife, are we turning a blind eye to their current lived experience? Corruption is now a badge of honor in our country for upward political mobility. The poor are sacrificed on the altar of greed of politicians who masquerade as champions of the poor. The South African Hindu Mahasabha demands accountability, transparency, and consequences for all types of crime and corruption. Civil society and the faith sector have an important role to play against crime and corruption. This faith sector is ideally placed to speak truth to power without fear or favor. So is all lost? No. Religion offers hope, opportunities for redemption, reconciliation, and renewal. We heard about atonement from Comrade Jeff Radebe, and the bishop also spoke about forgiveness, etc. Redemption is possible if the ANC declares that it will, for example, I'm going to give a few examples and I conclude, establish a public tribunal with the necessary resources and authority to deal with allegations of corruption expeditiously. Automatically expel any member who is implicated in crime and corruption. Incentivize and protect whistleblowers. There should be a transparent public process to assess and allocate tenders, which is the root of all the problems, I think. Immediately institute a lifestyle audit for all politicians, government officials, and their families. This is not rocket science. Quite frankly, it's common sense. Religion provides a hope that a better future based on justice and righteousness is still possible in our country and beyond. The ANC needs to reaffirm its commitment to non-racism, and I heard that from the speakers this morning. That was very pleasing. There is an especially urgent need to reset the moral and ethical compass in our country. Given that South Africa is an actively religious country, and this is the most important point I'm making today, I looked at in thinking about this presentation, I looked at the 2022 census last night. 94% of South Africans belong to a faith. That means in the last 3 months, they went to a place of worship. That is how the census takers defined it. That makes us the most powerful group in the country. Of that 94%, 83% are Christians. Now I'm saying our Christian brothers have a far greater responsibility, but the minority faiths cannot abdicate their responsibility. This is not the time for silence. The moment is now more than ever before. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And now we move on to the African religion, Mamlindi Wemhlongo. Thokoza Pope.
Amen. Nthokozeni bogogo nabomkhulu. Sithi makhosini. Sithi amen. Sithi bayede. Ayike sibingelela ubuholi bethu bonke omngenhla. Sibingelele nobusuka phezulu. Baholi sibonga kakhulu singabela bendabuko. Sihlangene la ma organization ahlukene singabelaphi la. Sizobonga nje kakhulu umbutho wethu ukuthi namhlanje ukwazile ukusibiza sizohlangana. Siyacela ukuthi njengoba senivumele baholi ukuthi ayikhona la kuhambe kwashayisa khona kwanakala khona njengoba sibona sekuvuleke na GNU, kepha ke siyafisa singabelaphi ukuthi manithi niyasondela kuthina singabelaphi sivulile izandla. Basekhona abaholi abelaphi baholi abahamba no-ANC. Sifuna ungakufihli lokho. Bakhona esikufisayo nje ukuthi ningasishiye endleleni. Thina singabantu abacela phansi. Siyazi lenhlangano yethu kodwa singena abanye sebekhulile kodwa bayafisa ngenxa ukuthi asinalo uxhaso olukhona singabelaphi kepha mhlambe umbutho wethu mawusondela ufaka